Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days and welcome to another WWE Mattel action figure video. We are going to have a look at Ringside Collectibles exclusives. We're going to have a look at all of those exclusive Mattel action figures that Ringside Collectibles stock and sell, and they have had some fantastic figures. Honestly, some of the best releases have been Ringside Collectibles exclusives. Ringside are like one of the biggest online retailers. Obviously in the UK we have Wrestling Shop. In America they have Ringside Collectibles. But the difference, one of the biggest differences, is that Ringside Collectibles obviously get exclusive figures. So let's not mess around anymore. Let's have a look and start with this. This is the Matt Hardy ECW figure. This came out quite recently. It is one of the more recent exclusives. It's Matt Hardy when he was in ECW. Obviously the newer version, WWE's version. And it's pretty cool. It's not my favourite era of Matt Hardy. But it comes with that ECW championship. That is obviously the new version, WWE's version, and this is the only figure you can get that belt with. You cannot get that belt with anything else. This is the first time they made that title, so absolutely love that. Talking of figures I love, this could be one of my favourite. I don't want to say it is my favourite, but you can see it on screen. Bret Hart. I don't want to say this is my favourite because I know of one that's coming up. But I do love this. This is the pink and black attack. This really stands out on a shelf. Incredible. So rare as well. Really, really hard to find this figure. I've seen it sell for like $90, $100. It's around that kind of price point. And yeah, really, really cool. Next up, Brock Lesnar. Here comes the pain. Great figure. This has got the Undisputed Championship. That's a belt that you don't see that often. It's got a great face scan. Love the expression. This really is one of the best Brock Lesnars. Next, this came out in 2013, same year as that Brock Lesnar we just saw. Cactus Jack. Bang, bang! This is years before we got Cactus Jack in the normal line. So for quite a few years, this was the only way you could get Cactus Jack. This one comes with ring steps. Black ring steps. I think they're really trying to get across his extreme, anything goes, weapons. It comes with a stop sign. You get handcuffs. You get loads of stuff with this. It's very cool. Next up, Chris Jericho. This is the list of Jericho. Now, I don't know if this is a Ringside Collectibles exclusive. I know that Ringside was stocking it, and WWE referred to it as a Ringside Collectibles exclusive, but I have seen it in stores. I honestly don't know, but let's look at it anyway because I'm told it's a Ringside Collectibles exclusive, and it's really cool. It's got great packaging because the back looks like the list of Jericho. You actually get the list of Jericho as well. Of course, they would release a figure in the normal line based on the list of Jericho, but that was a different figure to this one. You can see this is moodier, whereas the one that came out in the normal line had a big smiley face. I think this one is probably better. Next up, we've got Chris Jericho again, Wrestlemania 19. Not sure they got his likeness 100% here, but I do like the ring attire. The jacket looks awesome as well. This is obviously just post-Attitude Era Chris Jericho. Obviously, WrestleMania 19, you're kind of into ruthless aggression around that time. But very, very cool still, and a very popular figure. Next, CM Punk. This is the ECW flashback CM Punk. You can see that this is a different belt to the one we saw earlier with Matt Hardy, because this is the original ECW Championship. Very, very cool. CM Punk, you know, one of the most iconic wrestlers ever, and this is a very iconic look. It's the long hair, it's the goatee. This is when he was like really learning his craft and coming through the ranks. This is very popular amongst wrestling figure collectors, but I feel like this next one is more popular. This is the Straight Edge Society CM Punk, and people love this. People go crazy for this. I'm not too sure why. I know it was an iconic moment. CM Punk was forced to shave his head, and then he took to wearing this mask so that no one would see. Big Show actually pulled it off, revealed his shaved head to the world, so you can kind of recreate that with this figure. Yeah, as I said, this is quite rare. People love it. I'm not sure it's worth the money, if I'm being honest, that people pay for it. I think there are better CM Punks, but it is cool. I'm not taking anything away from the figure. It is cool. Next up, we've got Edge Rated R. Love the attire, the jacket, that belt, the Rated R spinner belt. Absolutely awesome. And that was the only way you could get that title until Ringside released that belt pack, that 5-belt pack. Yeah, bit of a shame that came out because kind of made this a little less desirable. But still, if you've got it, you've got something very special. Next up, Finn Balor, Balor Club. This came out 2016, and I loved this figure because this is what Finn looks like most weeks, and yet in the shops we just kept getting either basics or the elites were the Demon King. So this was an elite of what Balor actually looks like most weeks. Since this came out, we of course have had a Top Picks that is based on his WrestleMania attire. There are other Balors that are on the way that are based on what he looks like week in, week out. But still, I think this is highly desirable. It's got some nice logos on it, on the trunks in particular, and a little smirk on his face. I think this is a really cool figure. Next up, this is the figure I was thinking about that stopped me saying that Bret Hart was my favourite. This is Hulk Hogan, American made. This is 1985 Hulk Hogan. I wish it came with the Hogan 85 belt. Sadly, it doesn't, but this is very cool. This is right up there on figures I want in my collection. I don't have this. I've seen it. I've touched it. I've had it in my hand. I saw it at Hogan's Beat Shop, but it was like $180, I think it was. And it was signed, which is amazing. But it was like, oh, that was a lot of money. That was a lot of money. And I was really torn. And I really didn't know what to do. And I ended up leaving it. And I think I might regret that for the rest of my life. Next up, we've got Kane Hardcore. Again, similar. This used to be the only way you could get that Hardcore title. But then they released that 5-belt pack. And now you can get it that way instead. But even without that title, this is a great Kane figure. It's a different Kane figure. You don't see him wearing this attire that often. It's obviously very old school Kane as well. It's got the old mask and everything. I've got this. I love this. It is a great figure. Next up, we've got Kane Unmasked. This is based on when he was forced to take his mask off and show the world what he looks like for the first time. So the mask is removable. And then obviously you get a normal Kane head underneath, but they've put like black makeup around the eyes because that's what he looked like. He had like burnt, scarred eyes. And so they've kind of recreated that in the figure. Cool. It's a cool figure and looks really smart on a shelf. Next up, we've got Kevin Nash NWO. Another cool figure. This is Wolfpack Nash. Comes with a red spray-painted belt. It's got NWO on that World Heavyweight Championship. It's cool. It's really cool. But then the NWO was cool. And I would argue that Wolfpack was probably the coolest part of NWO. So I really, really do like this. If you get the other Wolfpack figures as well, it looks really cool as a set. Next up, we've got Macho Man NWO Wolfpack. We were just talking about it, so made sense to talk about this figure now. It is another Wolfpack figure. It's obviously got a lot of red in there. This is WCW, of course, Macho Man. And it's very cool. Again, it's a very different, very distinctive look for the Macho Man. I think the figure has got a lot of detail on it. Yeah, one of the better Macho Man figures. Next, we got Macho Man, Macho King. Obviously, they have made another Macho King that was in the Hall of Fame line, but this one is better. This one's got, like, the tassels. It feels classier. Not sure about the face, if I'm being honest, but then there's not many Macho Man figures that I actually like the face scans of. I think Macho Man is one of those superstars that would benefit from, like, a True FX scan. I think they can scan, like, pictures and things. So I think they could come out with an amazing Macho Man in the future. This next one is epic. Macho Man NWO. People go crazy for this. This is, like, one of those figures. If I was to do, like, the top 20 most popular figures, I think this one would feature. This is, like, a bit like a holy grail for people because it is super rare. Just missed out on my top rarest figures list because I've seen it sell for around the $100 mark. I've had people get in touch saying they spent considerably more than that, so I believe them. So this is definitely there or thereabouts. Yeah, this is Macho Man NWO. It's a very, very cool looking figure. They did make a retro in this attire. So that's how popular it is. One of the first Macho Man retros that Mattel made was in these colours, in this attire. So very, very cool. Next, people will like this. Rey Mysterio, the Flash. This came out in 2010. This is like the very start of Mattel making figures. Obviously, it's based on that iconic Wrestlemania attire. And yeah, it's really cool. Apparently, they can do it because the Flash is a DC character and Mattel have got rights to DC characters. So that's how they could get away with it. So yeah, very, very cool. Next up, The Rock, Intercontinental Champion. I really like this. It's like old school Rock. You get a ladder. You get that old school IC Championship belt. It's really smart. It's different to like the modern day Rocks. We've not had a great deal of this kind of era Rock. Yeah, this is definitely something that people always keep an eye out for. Next, we got Scott Hall NWO. Very cool figure again. You can see why these are Ringside Exclusives because they're a little bit niche, but I think they're like cool. I really do. I think this is because it's like my era, and these are figures that really appeal to me. If these were in the normal line, these are the figures that I would want to get. So yeah, some great exclusives. Next up, Shane McMahon. Shane O'Mac, this of course based on that match at King of the Ring, Kurt Angle versus Shane McMahon, when Shane went through that kind of glass, shattered that glass panel. You actually get a panel that you can throw a figure through, so you get some smart accessories here. So yeah, very, very cool. Next, Steve Austin, Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Texas Rattlesnake. This comes with a couple of belts, and those are hard belts to find. They did make a Defining Moments that came with 3 belts, so that one's kind of overtaken this now. But for a while, this was the Stone Cold figure to get, and you can see why. Some really nice details on this. Next up, we've got Sting Wolfpack. It works really well because of the face paint. And I think it just makes for a really visually impressive figure. And if you've got the Macho Man and you've got that Kevin Nash, this is a must buy. Next up, another one that might be my favorite. One of the most popular figures, HBK Shawn Michaels. They've made a couple of HBK Shawn Michaels, but this one might be the most popular. It is just from that. It's just from that era when he first broke away. I want to say like WrestleMania 8. Something in my head says WrestleMania 8. I could be wrong on that, but it looks awesome. There's so much detail on it. Detail on the jacket, and obviously you get the glasses. I think the face likeness is good. I think the hair sculpt, hair colour. It's just so much with this figure. It's so detailed. Really cool. Next up, we've got Bret Hart, King of the Ring, 1993. Very, very popular figure as well. I wish they would make a King of the Ring, like, build-a set, build-a-throne, or whatever it has to be. I just feel like that would be awesome to have the throne, have, like, the hat stand, maybe put a crown in there, maybe chuck a cloak in, a little platform maybe, I don't know. But that would be very cool. Because we are getting more King figures. We've obviously seen Macho King. Now we're looking at Bret the Hitman Hart when he won it. We've got Mabel on the way as well. So just, you know, something for Mattel to think about. Next up, this is, I think, the latest Ringside Collectibles exclusive. The Hardy Boys 2-pack. This was shown just a few weeks ago. This is the Hardy Boys when they were in with the Brood. Yeah, this is like Attitude Era. Very, very cool. Some great looking figures there. Love the tops. And obviously the hair colouring, and just looks awesome. The old school tag belts as well. Don't get them that often. So, yeah, very cool. Next, Kurt Angle, when he was in the Shield. Very, very awesome. Obviously, he replaced Roman Reigns. Roman was unable to compete. And so they had to bring in a replacement, and so they got Kurt Angle. I want to say this was at like a TLC, like a couple of years ago. But yeah, they actually released the figure. I gotta be honest, a lot of people don't like this. It's a very standard body with a Kurt Angle head on top. So yeah, there was quite a bit of criticism over this. Next up, we got Brian Kendrick, the Brian Kendrick. They've never released another Brian Kendrick, to my knowledge. I think this was his first time to line and only figure so far. It's got some cool accessories. It's a cool looking figure. It's got like wide eyes. He looks a little bit crazed. Yeah, I don't have this, but I do want to try and get it because, well, I would like to get a Brian Kendrick in my collection. Just one more to go, and that is Shawn Michaels, D-Generation X. Again, one of the more recent exclusives. They really went the extra mile with this. You can see, like, really detailed, super detailed. Looks very, very cool. Yeah, that's got to be up there with one of the best DX figures they've ever made, and they've made quite a few now, so there we go, guys. That was everything. How about that? Some awesome stuff in there. If I was to pick one, I would go for, it's got to be that Hogan. It's got to be that Hogan. I made the mistake of not getting it. We learn from our mistakes. Hopefully I get it next time. But yeah, let me know in the comments below, out of all of them, what do you have? What do you want? If you could only get one, what would that one be? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a like. It makes a massive difference. I really appreciate it. Hit the subscribe because we've got more videos on the way. And hopefully I see you again next time. Bye for now.